When that circular object first appeared on his sonar screen, Dennis thought he found a crashed UFO. But the more they examined the data, the more they realized this was not a shipwreck and not something they had ever encountered in decades of deep sea recovery.
The Baltic Sea was silent, the water flat as steel. Then, a sonar pulse returned an image no one could explain. An object too symmetrical, too deliberate, resting 90 meters below. It wasn't just its shape that stunned scientists. It was the feeling that something unnatural had been waiting there all along. That moment marked the beginning of a mystery that would span over a decade, one that began with a simple scan and unraveled everything they thought they knew about the sea floor. First contact with the unknown. In June 2011, two Swedish treasure hunters, Peter Lindberg and Dennis Asberg, were scanning the northern Baltic Sea floor in search of sunken cargo, old shipwrecks, maybe champagne from the World Wars. But their sonar equipment returned something they had never seen before, a massive circular formation nearly 60 meters across, resting quietly 92 meters below the surface. The object was too symmetrical, too cleanly edged to be mistaken for a natural rock outcrop. It looked almost architectural, like a disc set into the seafloor. And it wasn't alone. Stretching hundreds of meters behind it was a long, flat groove, straight as a runway, cut deep into the seabed. Nature, as every geologist knows, doesn't carve perfect lines. But this one did. At first, Lindberg and Asberg thought it might be a glitch. They rechecked the equipment, but the image persisted. 3 to 4 meters thick, sharply defined, and unlike any wreck they'd ever logged. It was too big for a warship, too smooth for glacial debris, and somehow too intentional. Word of the anomaly spread quickly once the team released the sonar images. News outlets picked up the story, and speculation ignited. Was it a secret military installation? An ancient structure buried by time? Or something else entirely? What they didn't realize was that this was just the beginning. The closer they got to the object, the stranger everything became. The malfunctions nobody could explain. Determined to investigate further, the Ocean X team returned to the site just weeks later, this time equipped with divers and a remotely operated vehicle. But as they approached the anomaly, their technology began to fail. The ROV's compass spun wildly. The control cables tangled without cause. Divers reported that even satellite phones and sonar equipment stopped working entirely when positioned above the object, and returned to normal once the boat drifted a few hundred meters away. At first, they blamed coincidence or equipment error, but each expedition brought the same eerie pattern: devices malfunctioning the closer they got, navigation systems failing, lights flickering, and instruments losing power. One diver, Stefan Hogerborn, said it was like something down there didn't want to be disturbed. Even more unsettling were the physical details divers observed firsthand. Along the side of the formation, they saw what looked like a set of carved steps leading upward. On its surface, a perfectly round black hole descended straight into the structure, too smooth and centered to be random. Some claimed to spot multiple right angles etched into the stone, and one diver found smaller stones arranged in a precise circular pattern on top, as if placed by design. No known geological process could account for what they were seeing. Yet despite their efforts, they were still unable to retrieve a sample from the structure itself. Every attempt was blocked by equipment failure, extreme hardness, or confusion underwater. The mystery was deepening, but without physical proof, their story risked fading into speculation. The struggle to prove it's real. As the anomaly gained international attention, so did the scrutiny. Some scientists dismissed the formation as glacial rock shaped during the last ice age. Others mocked the idea entirely. But for Lindberg and Asberg, the question wasn't about fantasy. It was about evidence, and getting it was proving nearly impossible. The biggest obstacle wasn't the structure itself. It was the lack of support. After early media hype faded, sponsors grew cautious. Fox News published a story dismissing the anomaly as a pile of rocks. Funding dried up. Rumors of hoaxes and publicity stunts spread across forums. The deeper the mystery became, the harder it was to get anyone to take it seriously. Asberg, undeterred, began selling Ocean X merchandise just to fund a return expedition. Meanwhile, strange details kept surfacing. Basalt rocks, typically formed by volcanic activity, were found around the anomaly. But geologists confirmed there was no volcanic history in the area. Even stranger, the basalt appeared only at the site, not in the surrounding seabed. And then there was the triangle. Reviewing old footage late one night, Asberg spotted something he hadn't noticed before, a triangular object with a circular hole through its center, lying just meters from the main formation. It didn't match any known marine debris, and it seemed too geometric to be natural. The find renewed their resolve, even as Lindbergh, discouraged and exhausted, considered walking away. They didn't know it yet, but help was coming. Not from governments or universities, but from technology. A decade later, AI joins the hunt. By 2025, over a decade had passed since the Baltic anomaly first appeared on sonar. Lindbergh had distanced himself from the project, but Asberg remained obsessed. He had pored over every frame of ROV footage, cleaned corrupted data, and rebuilt scans by hand. But it wasn't until artificial intelligence entered the picture that everything changed. Asberg partnered with Dr. Beatrice Villarroel, an astronomer known for her work in astrobiology and deep space pattern recognition. Unlike traditional marine researchers, she brought a cross-disciplinary approach, applying AI-driven imaging analysis to underwater data. Alongside a team of data scientists and geophysicists, they deployed a new generation of autonomous underwater vehicles, or AUVs, to rescan the anomaly. These sleek robotic submarines carried the latest multi-beam sonar arrays and 3D modeling systems. Unlike human divers, they could remain submerged for hours, collecting uninterrupted, high-resolution topography. Their mission wasn't to touch the structure, but to see it as clearly as possible. The scans revealed far more than expected. What once appeared as smooth surfaces on early sonar now displayed intricate grooves, intersecting ridges, and patterned symmetry. In several sections, the geometry was so precise that it resembled manufactured tiling, flat sections edged by deliberate-looking corners. Even more puzzling were the trace metallic compounds detected in the surrounding sediment. Lab analysis revealed mineral signatures that didn't match typical seabed composition. Some of the metallic elements suggested exposure to extreme heat, despite no volcanic origin in the area. As the data accumulated, so did the questions. Could this be a natural structure mimicking artificial form? Or had the team uncovered a relic, one shaped by design, not erosion? And if so, who or what built it? A global pattern emerges. The Baltic anomaly wasn't the only structure defying explanation beneath the waves. Thousands of kilometers away, off the coast of Japan, lies the Yonaguni Monument, a submerged, terraced formation with broad steps and sharp angles. Many researchers insist it's a natural rock formation, sculpted by ocean currents and tectonic activity. But to the divers who've descended its steep walls, it resembles a sunken ziggurat, something designed with purpose. In the Mediterranean, multi-beam sonar has revealed circular seabed structures with curious symmetry. Some are arranged in patterns too orderly for sediment or glacial movement to explain. And like the Baltic anomaly, several show what appear to be elevated platforms, ridge lines, and carved depressions. Individually, each site was dismissed as geological coincidence. But in recent years, as AI tools have been applied across sonar data from global expeditions, a strange pattern has emerged. The software, trained to identify recurring geometric motifs, began finding overlaps, shared angles, curves, and even proportional layouts between anomalies scattered across continents. Could they be remnants of a once connected structure or culture? Some theorists propose that these weren't isolated anomalies at all, but fragments of a lost civilization swallowed by the rising seas after the last ice age. A civilization whose architecture now rests beneath silt and coral, mistaken for mere rock. And if multiple structures do exist across oceans, each echoing the others in shape and complexity, then perhaps the Baltic Sea anomaly isn't an outlier, but a clue. Europa's hidden structures. Just as AI was transforming deep-sea exploration on Earth, it was also revealing secrets in space. In 2023, NASA's Ocean Worlds program released radar scan data from Jupiter's icy moon Europa. Buried beneath its frozen crust, scientists identified vast flat surfaces, some with angular edges and 90-degree intersections. unlike anything naturally formed. These weren't wild interpretations. The signals came from reflected radar pulses, analyzed by AI models trained to spot geometric patterns in planetary ice. While NASA cautiously referred to them as unusual formations, a growing number of planetary geologists noted their startling regularity. One segment resembled a slab with layered strata. Another appeared shaped like a rectangle cleaved by diagonal fault lines. What made the finding more than coincidence was the symmetry. Edges too straight, angles too clean, and clusters that mirrored each other spatially. These weren't jagged ridges or collapsed ice domes. They resembled engineered plates frozen in time. The implications are still under review, but for scientists studying the Baltic anomaly, the comparison was impossible to ignore. Could intelligent design leave similar signatures, whether buried in ice or submerged in seawater? Could the Baltic object be part of a broader, even cosmic pattern? If the same technology used to peer beneath Europa's crust can uncover such structures there, perhaps we're only beginning to see what lies hidden here on Earth, what we still don't know. Despite over a decade of investigation, the Baltic Sea anomaly remains officially unexplained. No core samples have been retrieved from the object itself. No definitive material analysis has confirmed its origin. What exists is a growing library of sonar scans, unexplained malfunctions, and layered anomalies that challenge what we consider possible beneath our oceans. The introduction of AI has not closed the case, it's widened it. The more patterns are uncovered, the more connections are drawn between structures separated by oceans and even planets. Some insist the anomaly is a rare geological fluke. Others see it as evidence of a lost civilization, or worse, a message we were never meant to find. But one truth remains uncontested. The anomaly is real. It's there, resting silently on the ocean floor, immune to time and resistant to interpretation. And until we can touch it, drill into it, or truly see inside, it will remain what it's always been, a question. It may be centuries old or older than our species, but the Baltic Sea anomaly reminds us that the greatest mysteries aren't always in space. They're hiding right here, beneath our oceans. If you're as intrigued by what lies below as we are, subscribe for more deep dives. And if you've got a theory, drop it in the comments. We're listening.